Across America, there are places filled with beauty, quiet forests, peaceful lakes, small towns rich in history, culture, and heart. These are the places many once called home, where generations grew up, worked hard, and built their lives. But today, many of these beautiful states are facing a silent struggle. People aren't leaving because they want to, they're leaving because they have to. Jobs are gone, services are limited, and hope is harder to hold on to. This video is not about judgment, it's about respect. We want to honor these states and the people who still call them home by sharing their story. These are 10 beautiful states in America that are quietly and sadly fading away. 10. West Virginia, the Forgotten Mountains. West Virginia is one of the most beautiful states in America. It's full of tall green mountains, rivers that wind through quiet valleys, and small peaceful towns. It's a place that once stood strong with hardworking people, rich culture, and a deep connection to the land. But today, something very different is happening here, slowly and quietly. West Virginia is dying, not in the dramatic way you see in movies or breaking news, but in silence. Town by town, block by block. In the past, West Virginia was known for one thing: coal. Coal mines powered this state's economy for decades. Almost every town had miners, and almost every family depended on that income. People were proud to be part of it. It meant jobs, stability, and community. But now, that coal industry is almost gone. With new energy sources, automation, and changing government policies, thousands of jobs have disappeared. And when the jobs left, so did the people. Many young people packed their bags and moved to bigger cities in search of better opportunities. College students who once said, "I'll come back home," never did. That left behind aging populations, empty schools, closed shops, and homes for sale that no one wants to buy. Some towns that were full of life in the 1980s now feel abandoned. Main streets with boarded-up windows, gas stations turned into ghost shells, schools with no children, hospitals that shut down because there weren't enough patients or staff. But it's not just about money, it's also about health. West Virginia has one of the highest rates of poverty in America. Many people don't have access to good health care. The opioid crisis hit this state harder than almost anywhere else in the country. Addiction, broken families, and mental health issues have taken a deep toll. And when a place loses both jobs and hope, it becomes even harder to rebuild. And yet, through all this, West Virginia still looks beautiful. Its mountains still glow in the autumn when the leaves turn gold and red. Its rivers still shine under the morning sun. And the people who've stayed, they still have heart, pride, and resilience. They still call it almost heaven, just like the old song says. But the truth is, heaven shouldn't be this empty. There are towns where only a few hundred people remain. Some families have stayed because of tradition, some because they don't want to leave behind generations of history. Others simply have no choice. This is home, even if home is crumbling around them. In some counties, over 20% of the homes are now vacant. That means for every 5 houses, one is empty, falling apart, forgotten. There are local leaders and community groups trying to save what's left, opening small businesses, investing in tourism, creating arts and culture centers. And yes, some towns are seeing a bit of rebirth, but the pace is slow and the damage runs deep. What makes it even more heartbreaking is that West Virginia could be a dream destination. It has nature, peace, charm, everything city people are looking for when they want to escape the noise. But the state doesn't have enough jobs, health services, or infrastructure to support a big comeback yet. So West Virginia waits, quietly, watching its towns fade, watching its people age, watching its streets grow silent. It's not just a place, it's a symbol of what happens when beauty isn't enough, when a strong past doesn't guarantee a strong future. West Virginia isn't dead, but it's struggling. It's still beautiful, but it's quietly dying. 9. Vermont, peaceful, pretty, and slowly emptying. Vermont is one of the most peaceful and beautiful states in America. It's known for its green mountains, colorful fall leaves, quiet lakes, and small towns that look like storybooks. Tourists love to visit Vermont for its nature, maple syrup, and calm lifestyle. On the surface, it looks perfect. But behind the beauty, Vermont is quietly struggling. It might surprise you, but Vermont has one of the lowest population growth rates in the entire country. In fact, many small towns are slowly shrinking. Schools are closing, Businesses are disappearing, and young people are moving away. So what's going wrong? The biggest issue is aging and population loss. Vermont has one of the oldest populations in the U.S. Young people who grow up here often leave after high school or college. Why? Because they don't see enough opportunities. Jobs are limited, and the cost of living is high compared to the salaries. There aren't many big cities, and industries are small. As a result, towns that were once full of families now have fewer children, fewer workers, and fewer reasons for people to stay. Some villages have become so quiet that you can walk down the street in the middle of the day and see no one. No kids playing, no shops open, just silence. Even though the houses are beautiful, many of them sit empty, especially in winter. Some are second homes for out-of-state owners who only visit once or twice a year. This makes housing expensive for locals but doesn't help the local economy. Another reason Vermont is quietly dying is because it's hard to attract new residents. It's cold, rural, and isolated in many parts. While that can be peaceful, it also means longer travel times, fewer services, and a feeling of being cut off from the rest of the country. Vermont is trying to fight back. The state has offered cash incentives to get people to move there, giving thousands of dollars to remote workers willing to settle in small towns. There are also local programs to support small businesses and farmers. But progress is slow. People still love Vermont's charm, its forests, and its friendly towns. But charm alone can't save a place from slowly fading. When communities lose their younger generation, the future becomes uncertain. Vermont is still beautiful, still peaceful, but behind the calm, it's quietly becoming something else. A place with too many memories and not enough momentum. 8. Alaska, America's wild beauty slowly going quiet. Alaska is one of the most breathtaking places in the world. Massive mountains, endless forests, glowing skies, and peaceful lakes. It's the kind of place that looks like a dream. It's full of wildlife, adventure, and natural wonders you won't find anywhere else in America. But despite all that beauty, Alaska is slowly fading. Alaska is the largest state in the U.S., but it has one of the smallest populations, and it's getting smaller every year. For several years now, more people have been leaving Alaska than moving in. It's one of the only states where population has been consistently shrinking. So why are people leaving? First, Alaska is expensive, very expensive. Things like food, fuel, and supplies cost much more here because they have to be flown or shipped from far away. In remote towns and villages, even basic groceries can be double or triple the price compared to the rest of the country. Second, the job market is shrinking. Alaska once had strong oil and gas industries, but over the years, those jobs have decreased. Tourism is seasonal, fishing and logging aren't as stable as they used to be, and automation has reduced the number of jobs in many fields. When jobs go down, people move out, especially young families. Another major reason is isolation. Many small towns in Alaska are only reachable by boat or plane. There are places where there's no internet, no big hospitals, and sometimes no roads at all. It's hard to get medical help. It's hard to go to school. And in winter, the weather is brutal, freezing cold, long nights, and heavy snow that can last for months. Many people love the quiet and adventure that Alaska offers, but for others, it's just too hard. They move to find better opportunities, easier living, and more connection to the rest of the world. Even in Anchorage, Alaska's biggest city. People are leaving. And once you go beyond the cities into smaller villages, you'll find entire communities that are shrinking fast. Some native villages have been abandoned due to erosion, floods, or climate change. Others are simply emptying because younger generations have moved south. And yet, Alaska remains one of the most beautiful places on Earth. It still has untouched landscapes, fresh air, and a deep sense of peace that's hard to describe. It's a place where the sky feels bigger and the world feels slower. But even with all its beauty, Alaska is struggling to keep its people, struggling to hold on to its future. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's real. Alaska is quietly dying, one town, one family, one winter at a time. 7. Mississippi, rich in culture, poor in progress. Mississippi is one of the most historic and culturally rich states in America. It's known for its warm southern charm, peaceful rivers, deep blues music, and small towns full of tradition. The land is green, the sunsets are golden, and the food, especially the soul food, is unforgettable. But behind this charm, Mississippi is quietly dying. For years, Mississippi has been facing serious problems that are slowly draining the life out of many of its towns and cities. It's not loud, it's not in the headlines every day, but it's happening, and the numbers prove it. Mississippi has one of the highest poverty rates in the United States. Many families struggle to make ends meet. Jobs are hard to find in many areas, especially outside the few big cities like Jackson or Gulfport. Factories have shut down, small businesses can't survive, and for many people, especially the youth, the only option is to leave. And that's exactly what they're doing. Thousands of young people are leaving Mississippi every year in search of better jobs, better schools, and a better life. What they leave behind are aging communities with fewer workers, fewer families, and fewer chances to grow. In some towns, you can walk down Main Street and feel like time just stopped. Empty shops, quiet sidewalks, schools with fewer kids, hospitals closing down because they can't stay open. Another big issue is education and healthcare. Mississippi ranks low in both. Many schools don't have the funding or resources they need. Hospitals in rural areas have shut their doors, leaving people to drive hours for basic medical help. That's not just a problem, it's a crisis. Even the state's biggest city, Jackson, has faced serious problems, from failing water systems to economic hardship. If the capital is struggling, what does that mean for the smaller towns? And yet, Mississippi still has so much heart. Its people are warm, kind, and full of pride. The state has produced some of America's greatest musicians, writers, and athletes. The culture is strong, the history is deep, and the land, with its open skies, calm rivers, and gentle hills, is beautiful. But beauty and culture alone can't keep people home, not when there's no work, no health care, and no future for their children. Mississippi isn't vanishing overnight, but the slow decline is real. Some towns may never fully bounce back, others are trying, through small business programs, local farming, tourism, but the road is long. Mississippi is still standing, still singing its blues, still telling its stories. But it's doing it more quietly now, as more people leave and fewer return. This is how a beautiful place fades, not with a bang, but with silence. 6. New Mexico, land of enchantment fading in silence. New Mexico is called the Land of Enchantment, and for good reason. It's one of the most stunning states in America. With its wide-open deserts, colorful sunsets, ancient adobe towns, and rich Native American and Hispanic heritage, it feels like a place frozen in time. Tourists come for the art, the mountains, the food, and the peaceful energy that makes New Mexico feel truly special. But even with all this beauty, New Mexico is quietly dying. Many small towns in the state are slowly emptying. People are moving away, jobs are disappearing, and the economy is struggling to keep up. And while the cities like Albuquerque and Santa Fe still attract attention, much of the rest of the state is fading in the background. So, what's going wrong? First, New Mexico has one of the highest poverty rates in the U.S. Many communities, especially in rural areas, struggle with basic needs. Schools don't have enough funding, roads are in poor condition, and hospitals are far apart. This makes life hard for people who live outside of the major cities. Second, the job market is limited. While the state has industries like tourism, art, and energy, these don't provide enough jobs to support everyone. Many young people leave New Mexico after school because they can't find work, and when the youth leave, towns start to die. Slowly, but surely. Another big issue is crime and drug use, especially in places where poverty is high and hope is low. Some neighborhoods have become unsafe, which pushes even more families to move away. When safety is gone, everything else begins to fall apart. But what makes New Mexico's situation truly sad is how beautiful and peaceful it still is. Drive through the state and you'll see red rock canyons, quiet farmlands, historic pueblos, and skies that seem endless. There's an energy in New Mexico that feels sacred, like the land is alive. But that feeling is being lost as more houses go empty and more businesses shut down. Small towns like Gallup, Espanola, and parts of Las Cruces are facing slow decline. There are fewer jobs, fewer people, and fewer reasons for young families to stay. Some streets that were once busy are now silent, except for the wind. There are efforts to turn things around. New Mexico is investing in clean energy, space tech, and small business programs. Artists and digital nomads are starting to move in. But for many towns, these changes are coming too late, or too slowly. New Mexico hasn't lost its soul. It hasn't lost its beauty, but it is losing its people, and that's what's slowly breaking it. The land of enchantment is still magical, but the magic is fading. 5. Louisiana, a culture-rich state, slowly slipping away. Louisiana is one of the most unique and beautiful states in America. Known for its music, food, and culture, it has a soul that you don't find anywhere else. The sound of jazz, the taste of spicy Cajun dishes, the energy of Mardi Gras, and the deep history of New Orleans, it's a state that feels alive. But behind that vibrant image, Louisiana is quietly dying. From coastal towns to rural parishes, many parts of Louisiana are losing people, losing jobs, and slowly fading away. It's not always on the news, but the signs are everywhere, and they're getting harder to ignore. One of the biggest problems is natural disasters. Louisiana is one of the most disaster-prone states in the country. Hurricanes, floods, and rising sea levels hit this region again and again. Each time, people rebuild. But some just give up. They pack up and leave, and many never come back. Entire communities have been wiped out or forced to move inland, and with climate change getting worse, the future looks even more dangerous for the state's coastline. The land itself is disappearing. Louisiana loses about a football field of land every hour to the sea. Another issue is poverty and lack of opportunity. Many parts of the state are poor, especially outside of big cities like New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Jobs are limited, schools are underfunded. Healthcare is hard to access, especially in rural areas. Young people often leave Louisiana to find better lives elsewhere, and when they do, the small towns they leave behind begin to break down. Shops close, houses are abandoned, and streets grow quiet. Even New Orleans, the heart of Louisiana's culture, has faced major challenges. Hurricane Katrina in 2005 was a turning point. Thousands of people were displaced. Some neighborhoods still haven't fully recovered. Add in crime, unemployment, and housing issues, and it's easy to see why people continue to move out. But just like the Mississippi River that flows through it, Louisiana still keeps going. Its people are strong, they're proud, they carry deep traditions and a love for their state that's hard to match. From the bayous to the French Quarter, Louisiana is full of life, even as it slowly fades in the background. There are efforts to save it. Some areas are building levees, improving flood systems, investing in renewable energy, and trying to rebuild better than before. But the road ahead is long, and not every town has the resources to survive. Louisiana is beautiful, it's soulful, it's unforgettable. But sadly, parts of it are dying, not from lack of love, but from things that love alone can't stop. And that's what makes it one of the most heartbreaking places on this list. 4. Montana. Big sky country, slowly going empty. Montana is one of the most naturally stunning states in all of America. They call it Big Sky Country, and it lives up to the name. Wide open landscapes, snow-capped mountains, crystal clear lakes, and peaceful forests. It's the kind of place that looks like a painting. But underneath all that beauty, something is changing. Montana is slowly and quietly dying. Not every part of the state, of course. Cities like Bozeman and Missoula are growing, mostly from out-of-state people moving in. But when you look at the smaller towns, the rural areas, the places far from the highways, a different story begins to appear. In many of these quiet places, the population is shrinking fast. One major reason? Young people are leaving. There just aren't enough jobs in these small towns. Farming and ranching still exist, but they don't employ as many people as they used to. Factories have closed, mining has slowed down, and without new industries moving in, there's not much left to keep families around. So when young people graduate, they often leave for bigger cities, either inside or outside the state, looking for better education, better careers, and a more connected life. And sadly, most never come back. What's left behind is an aging population and towns where you'll find more empty houses than new homes. Drive through parts of eastern Montana or far north near the Canadian border and you'll see the signs. Closed schools, shuttered stores, dusty roads with no traffic. In some places, it feels like time has stopped. Montana also has a harsh climate, especially in the winter. Heavy snow, icy roads, and freezing temperatures make life difficult for months at a time. That adds another layer of challenge for people living far from the cities, especially when it comes to travel, healthcare, or simply getting supplies. And here's the twist. While small towns are dying, some parts of Montana are getting too expensive to live in. Places like Bozeman and parts of Flathead County have seen housing prices skyrocket. Many locals are being priced out by people moving in from other states. So in one part of Montana, people can't afford to stay, and in another part, people are quietly disappearing. That's the strange and sad reality of a state that is both beautiful and broken at the same time. Montana still has its charm, still has its pride, still has its stunning views and peaceful lifestyle. But more and more, that beauty is becoming harder to hold on to. And if something doesn't change soon, some of Montana's most peaceful towns may become nothing more than memories. 3. Maine. A peaceful dream slowly fading. Maine is one of the most peaceful and naturally beautiful states in America, with its rocky coastlines, deep forests, charming lighthouses, and quiet small towns. It feels like a peaceful escape from the noise of modern life. It's a place people dream of retiring in, with fresh air, friendly neighbors, and calm living. But behind that peaceful image, Maine is facing a slow and quiet crisis. Many parts of the state are shrinking, struggling, and slowly dying. The biggest challenge? Maine is getting old. Maine has one of the oldest populations in the entire United States. Young people are leaving the state, heading to larger cities in search of jobs, education, and opportunities. Many never return. That leaves behind aging towns, fewer workers, and schools with fewer children. Some communities are so small now that schools have been forced to close or merge with others miles away. Hospitals in rural areas are understaffed or shut down completely, and when basic services like healthcare and education disappear, it becomes even harder for a town to survive. Another problem is the economy. Outside of a few larger cities like Portland or Bangor, there just aren't many job options. The traditional industries like fishing, paper mills, and manufacturing have all declined. Farming still exists, but it doesn't employ as many people as before. Tourism helps in the summer, especially along the coast, but when the season ends, many towns feel empty and forgotten again. Then there's the issue of housing. It's a strange situation. Some places in Maine are seeing rising housing costs because of out-of-state buyers looking for vacation homes. That drives up prices for locals, but doesn't help the local economy much, because those homes often sit empty for most of the year. Inland and rural Maine, on the other hand, has the opposite problem. Houses are cheap, but no one wants to buy them. There's simply not enough work or support for young families to build a life there. The winters in Maine are also long and harsh. Snowstorms, icy roads, and freezing temperatures make daily life difficult, especially for older residents or those living far from major towns. Despite all this, Maine remains stunningly beautiful. The sun rising over the Atlantic, the forests glowing in autumn, the quiet calm of a lake at sunrise, these are things that make Maine feel like a peaceful dream. But a dream alone can't keep people from leaving. And as more people go, more towns lose their spirit. Maine isn't disappearing overnight, but little by little, it's losing what made it whole: its people, its energy, its future. It's still peaceful, still proud, but sadly, parts of Maine are quietly dying. Who, Illinois downstate, does cover quiet towns, loud struggles? When most people think of Illinois, they think of Chicago, the big city with tall buildings, busy streets, and a lot of energy. But outside of Chicago, in the rest of the state, something very different is happening. Downstate Illinois, which includes small towns, farmland, and quiet communities, is slowly and quietly dying. These areas were once full of life. Families lived in peaceful neighborhoods, local factories were open, farms were strong, and downtowns were busy. There was pride in these communities. People felt safe. Life was simple and steady. But over the past few decades, things started to change. One of the biggest problems has been the loss of industry. Many of these towns depended on one or two large employers, like a factory or a coal plant. When those businesses closed or moved away, entire towns were affected. People lost their jobs, and with that, they lost their reason to stay. Young people started leaving. They wanted better jobs, modern lifestyles, and more opportunities, things they couldn't find in their small hometowns anymore. Some went to Chicago, others left the state entirely. What they left behind were aging communities, empty buildings, and main streets that now feel more like memories than places of business. In many parts of downstate Illinois, you'll see vacant homes, broken sidewalks, and closed schools. It's not because people don't love these towns, it's because they no longer have the support they need to survive. Healthcare is another struggle. Many rural hospitals and clinics have shut down, forcing people to drive long distances for even basic treatment. When you combine this with high poverty rates and lack of investment, the cycle becomes even harder to break. Even the weather adds to the challenge. Harsh winters, strong storms, and flooding in some river towns have caused damage that many places simply can't afford to repair. Still, there's something beautiful about downstate Illinois. The open fields, the quiet mornings, the sense of community that still exists in those who remain. People here are proud of their roots, their small-town values, and their love for their land. Some towns are trying to rebuild. There are local efforts to attract remote workers, start small businesses, and create tourism, but it's a tough road, especially when the younger generation is already gone. Downstate Illinois isn't a place of loud headlines or big cities. It's a place of small hopes, deep history, and fading dreams. And while Chicago continues to shine, the rest of Illinois is quietly falling behind. It's still beautiful, still home to many, but sadly, parts of downstate Illinois are slowly dying, one town at a time. A state of beauty and broken dreams. Michigan is a state known for its natural beauty, surrounded by the Great Lakes, filled with forests, rivers, charming small towns, and peaceful farmland. It's a place where nature and community come together. But beyond the beauty, and beyond the big headlines about Detroit, something sad is happening. Outside of Detroit, many parts of Michigan are slowly dying. Small towns that were once full of life are now struggling to survive. Families are moving away, businesses are shutting down, and some neighborhoods have more abandoned houses than people. How did it get this way? It all started with the fall of the auto industry. For decades, Michigan was the heart of car manufacturing in America. Towns across the state depended on auto plants and related industries. When those jobs started leaving, whether due to automation, outsourcing, or economic crashes, entire communities were affected. Factories closed, jobs disappeared, and people had no choice but to leave. This didn't just happen in Detroit. It happened in Flint, Saginaw, Pontiac, and dozens of smaller towns that relied on the same industries. These places were built around a single economy, and when that economy broke, so did everything else. Now, in many of these areas, you'll see cracked roads, boarded-up shops, and empty schools. Some towns feel stuck in time, like nothing new has happened in years. Others are quiet, not in a peaceful way, but in a sad one, where silence means people are gone. Another major issue is poverty and crime. Many areas outside Detroit face high unemployment and low income. Without jobs, without investment, and without hope, crime becomes harder to control. Families who can leave do. Those who stay behind often struggle. And then there's the water crisis, like in Flint, which made things even worse. People lost trust in local leadership and systems that were supposed to protect them. Even years later, the effects are still being felt. But despite all this, Michigan still shines in many ways. Its lakes are stunning. Its small towns are filled with history. The people are strong, kind, and deeply connected to their land. They care about their communities and want to see them grow again. There are efforts to bring these places back, new businesses, education programs, and city improvement projects. Some towns are slowly turning around, but it takes time, money, and energy, and many communities are still waiting for real change. Michigan is a state full of beauty and broken dreams. It didn't fall apart overnight, and it won't come back overnight either. But right now, many parts of Michigan, especially outside of Detroit, are quietly fading away. And that's why it's #1 on our list of beautiful states in America that are slowly dying.